Hi, my name is Leslie Salazar Carrillo, and this is Life Grounded. Today, as promised, we're going to talk about the march toward Roe. What is that? What is the history of the march toward Roe v. Wade? For many people, Roe v. Wade has always been the law of the land. 47 years have passed since the federal government said abortion should be legal for any reason without restriction. This is a subject that we will explore later, how Roe was written and why the health of the mother is an obscure term. Let's just say right now, the majority of people, especially people who believe humans need to be protected in the womb, would say that if a mother is going to die, of course you save the mother. But Roe was written purposefully broad so that the health of the mother can mean more than imminent death. We'll discuss that later and what the stats are for late-term abortion and why women choose that. I'll give you what Guttmacher, the former research arm of Planned Parenthood, says, but that's for a later episode. So this march toward Roe, it actually began before the sexual revolution that happened in the 60s. In the 1920s, Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, who was a proponent of eugenics. Eugenics is the study of how to arrange reproduction within a human population to increase the occurrence of heritable characteristics regarded as desirable. That's a lot. They also feel to destroy those who are not desirable. What does that mean? People with congenital disabilities. So Margaret Sanger pushed for population control. Then in 1963, the Society for Human Abortion was established in San Francisco. In 1965, Griswold versus Connecticut was decided that the Constitution protected a right to privacy. That law involved contraception. And then in 1967, Colorado is the first state to liberalize its abortion laws. Then we get to 1969. Lawrence Lader, who was a writer, and Dr. Bernard Nathanson, a physician who performed abortions, helped found the National Association for the Repeal of Abortion Laws. That group is now called NARAL, National Abortion Rights Action League. Bernard Nathanson's desire was that the cultural stigma on abortion be removed and eliminate all meaningful legal restraints and make it widely available. So how did they do this? Well, Bernard Nathanson, who later became a pro-life advocate, and in his 1997 Confessions of an Ex-Abortionist in the Hand of God, Dr. Nathanson wrote exactly how they deceived a nation. These are his words. In 1968, a truthful poll of opinion then would have found that most Americans were against permissive abortion. Yet, within 5 years, we had convinced the Supreme Court to issue the decision which legalized abortion throughout America in 1973 and produced virtual abortion on demand up to birth. The first key tactic, as per Dr. Nathanson, capture the media. Persuade the media that the cause of permissive abortion was a liberal, enlightened, sophisticated one. Fabricate the results of fictional polls. Fabricate the number of illegal abortions done annually in the United States. At that time, it was approximately 100,000, but we gave the media the number 1 million. This number is still being used today, even though Dr. Nathanson said that they made it up. They gave the number of women dying annually from illegal abortions at 10,000, when actually it was 200 to 250. These deaths are tragic, but nowhere near the 10,000 per year that they promoted. Since Roe was passed, there have been 61 million abortions in the United States. 19 million of those aborted since 1973 have been African American. So the second tactic that they used was vilify the Catholic Church. They said that the Catholic Church had socially backward ideas. Other Christians and non-Christian religions were actually opposed to abortion, but they suppressed that information, along with pro-life atheists. Dr. Nathanson said that they did this. The third tactic, denigration and suppression of all scientific evidence that life begins at conception. Ultrasound quickly shed light on life in the womb. Dr. Nathanson said that fetology, the study of the fetus in the womb, makes it undeniably evident that life begins at conception. He said, as a scientist, I know, not believe, know that human life begins at conception. Although I am not a formal religionist, I believe with all of my heart that there is a divinity of existence which commands us to declare a final and irreversible halt to this sad and shameful crime against humanity. So here we are, 47 years later. It's interesting. A man who admittedly performed over 5,000 abortions and presided over 60,000 abortions as the director of the Center of Reproductive and Sexual Health, when faced with the scientific evidence about life in the womb, became one of the strongest pro-life advocates. In actuality, it actually wasn't a religious conversion that caused this change. He did later become a Catholic, but he had already changed his stance on abortion. Why? Because he came face to face with the reality of the beginnings of human life and its intrinsic value. This proves that we can always change our minds. I have never met anyone who was truly pro-life that decided that abortion was okay. However, I have met numerous people who were pro-choice, myself included, who examined the evidence and realized that the dignity of human life should be protected. So this march toward Roe was based on a lie, and it proves that if we tell a lie long enough, it becomes truth. Anyone who has ever had dealings with a narcissist understands this concept. So if you're listening to this and you believe that abortion is okay, or even if you're in the camp of, well, I wouldn't do it, but I can't tell anybody else not to do it either, which we'll discuss the incongruity of that statement in a later episode, please take a moment and think on the fact that the whole issue of Roe v. Wade was based on deception. My name is Leslie Salazar Carrillo, and this is Life Grounded.